Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. As you guys know, Chainlink has been the market leader since 2019. It's been outperforming and leading the majority of the market in that time. Today I wanted to give you guys a new update inside of Chainlink, give you guys some analysis that's going to perfectly map out the long-term projection of Chainlink, and give you guys some exact projections as far as where I think the price could be headed over the next year. It's really important that we have a sound plan in place right now because what we're about to experience is a massive increase in price for Chainlink. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure that you guys click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. And always remember, guys, I have the fastest growing and the very best Discord community out there in crypto. 17,000 members and growing so fast. It's free for anybody that wants to join. All you guys got to do to join is click inside the description of this video, and they're going to find the invitation link to my Discord server. Now, on the Discord server, I also offer my exclusive VIP content like my video course and Signal. So if you want to copy my portfolio, know every single trade that I'm taking, and you also want to get access to private VIP videos, then make sure you guys stay all the way to the end of this video because then I'm going to take a couple minutes to explain how you guys can get signed up, the pros of doing so, and what it's going to take to get you guys going today. One final thought before we jump into the video, guys, is to make sure you download my free ebook. This is an amazing resource that I've spent a lot of time making to give you guys the ins and outs of trading and investing. It's 38 pages long, full of a lot of information that's going to teach you guys how to trade, how to invest, and it's going to give you guys some insights to my personal trading plan. I've also got a 10-part quiz packed in there so you guys can go through, read all the contents of the ebook, and then quiz yourself so you retain all of that knowledge learned. Once again, guys, links are provided for you in the description, and with all that being said, guys, let's jump right into this amazing video today. So here we are, guys, taking a look at Bitcoin on the dollar. Now, we're going to start off with Bitcoin, go over some basic things, and then we're going to dive into the Chainlink analysis today. I think it's really important that we talk about Bitcoin because ultimately Bitcoin is going to decide the direction of everything else. Now, one of the big things that I want to talk to you guys about is really just this resistance box. This is my new resistance that I've drawn here from about $17,200 down here to about $16,200. So this $1,000 range, I've personally been looking at this as the supply zone in which Bitcoin was going to top out, and I just think that we're kind of in the in-between stage where I expect that we're going to get one more push into this resistance before ultimately coming down. But one of the big things that I wanted to keep you guys aware of is the fact that Bitcoin itself has had such a strong rally from the low set down here at about, 10.5. From about 10.5, we're up about 50%. So this is a really, really, really big increase in price without any type of pullback. And so when you guys watch this, you should be very aware that we should be expecting to see a pullback very soon. Now, with that being said, guys, when we do have a pullback, whether it comes here or whether it shoots up for one more leg higher into my supply box, I expect that this sell-off is going to happen pretty quick, and it won't be a lot like these ones here, where these ones were kind of slow consolidation. I expect that once we do manage to find resistance, we're going to drop, and it's going to be quick, and it'll be a fall to retest about 13.8 to, I would say, about 13.8 to even down here to 12.5. That's going to be the next target that I'm going to watch out for before ultimately, we keep going higher. And so this is personally what I think is going to happen with Bitcoin. I think that we're going to get one more push. If not, then we top out where we're at now and we'll get a quick sell-off. Now, this sell-off, I think it's merely just going to be us retesting some of the previous highs, whether it's the high that we set here at 14K or whether we retest the breakout point here at 12.5. Either way, I'm just going to be watching for one short-term correction before ultimately we start to rally up to all-time highs. I expect that at this point, guys, the pullbacks are going to happen really quick. They're not going to be very long-lived entirely as we're inside of this bull cycle, as we're venturing closer to the all-time highs. Because you guys got to understand that this is really the point in the cycle where things go parabolic. And if we look at the last Bitcoin cycle, we had these slow accumulations as the trend got steeper and steeper. And as you guys can tell, this is the point where we hit all-time highs. We had a quick stab right at all-time highs and a sharp sell-off. I honestly expect that we're going to see something very similar play out today inside of Bitcoin, just based off of where we're currently at and how we've been consolidating. I think it's much more likely that we would experience some type of pullback. It's very rare in which Bitcoin pumps 50% and you really don't get any type of pullback. And so that's really important to understand here. I think that we could very easily see something along the lines of this, and we'll make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. where we get this sharp correction back down, we retest some of these support levels before ultimately going to that all-time high mark. And so this is personally the way that I'm trading Bitcoin. This is what I'm watching for. I just expect that whenever we find the short-term top, whether it's here or whether we get one more push up to my supply box, I would expect a sharp decline to ensue shortly after, which would look very similar to this before, ultimately we rebound and go up much higher. And so guys, this is really what I'm seeing on the bigger time frames. Now, if we drop into Bitcoin on the shorter ones, let's remove these drawing tools real quick and let's talk about some things. In my opinion, really what we're seeing here, this just looks to me like a triangle consolidation, where we get this sharp converging support and resistance, and they kind of converge in this center point. We can see that this seems to be what we're forming here. Now, I'll be honest, guys, this to me looks a little bit funky. I still believe that we'll probably hold support right here and keep going higher, but the way it's looking right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we did manage to sell off from here. There's a couple different scenarios. Either we bounce up and then we ultimately go up higher to, anywhere from about 16.5 to 17K, or, maybe we get a fake out and then we end up falling back down. Either way, guys, I expect a quick sell-off, whether we pump up for one more leg higher or whether we get a down push. I expect that dip is going to get bought up pretty quickly, and so we just need to be aware. The most important thing to understand right now as it stands with Bitcoin is the fact that we've just had this big increase in price and we've pretty much had no pullback. Now, does this mean that we have to have a pullback and it's going to sell off right now? Well, not entirely. What it could happen is we get one more leg up before that pullback. But what I want you guys to understand is now is not the time to be buying Bitcoin. Even though I'm super bullish on everything, I ultimately think that Bitcoin will experience some type of a correction. And so if you've been waiting on the sidelines, now is really not the best time to get in because of how high we've impulsed. I mean, if we just take a look at the weekly time frame, we can see without a doubt that this thing is very obviously in an impulse. And so it's not the smartest move to try and buy at the very top of this. The smartest thing to do would just be to wait for some type of correction, because ultimately I think we get it. Even if we come up for a leg higher, ultimately I still expect that we're going to get a short-term correction that's going to take us back down to about, like I said, 13K to even 12.5 before ultimately rallying up to that all-time high mark. And so this is what I'm going to watch out for with Bitcoin. Right now, we're kind of in an in-between stage on the shorter time frames. We're just going to watch and see what happens, whether we get the impulse or whether we get the downside. But I just want you guys to be aware that I am expecting a short-term correction to come very soon. Now, guys, let's actually dive into some Chainlink analysis here, because I wanted to map to you guys out where I think the long-term prospect really shows with Chainlink. Now, one of the biggest things that I can say with Chainlink is the fact that it's been the market leader. It's been consistently outpacing the rest of the market since 2019, really ever since the bull run started. We can see that, Bitcoin bottomed at 3,200, and this is the entire move that Chainlink did after that. We've had a very big parabolic move coming in Chainlink, and now where we're sitting at is pretty much just back onto support, or where I view support. I actually bought more Chainlink at $7.90, so I basically got filled at the very bottom of this sell-off. And you guys already know, I've been buying Chainlink for a while now. I've been buying Chainlink ever since it was sub $2.50, and I'm just going to continue to hold, continue to buy. Really, guys, to be completely honest, I'm done buying Chainlink, and I know I said that at the top up here, but ultimately, when I saw Chainlink get back within single digits, I couldn't help myself but just go ahead and buy one. And so I bought a few more Chainlink down here at $7.90, but now, we've impulsed, we're back above $10. I have no real inclination to add any more Chainlink, and so now you guys can say, with surety, or what I can tell you with surety, is I'm no longer buying Chainlink. I've just got all my spot held. I'm going to be holding this one long term and seeing what happens. And so if you're watching this video, do I think Chainlink's a bad buy? Of course not. However, for me personally, I'm just not going to be buying anymore because I've already accumulated so much of it that, it just doesn't make sense for me to have to continue to buy more. Now let's actually talk about the long-term prospect, because really, guys, what we've seen inside of Chainlink up to this point is just a consolidation. And we really haven't done a whole lot. We can see that this was the original consolidation. We topped out in 2018, then we went through this long accumulation phase, right? And we can see that that's indicated by this rounded bottom structure. We started rounding out, and then we started to actually mark up, and then ultimately we broke out of that all-time high mark. And when we broke out of that all-time high mark, we had a couple different retests. In fact, we had 3 different retests at this level. And so this just shows that we're starting the parabolic move. Once we break out of all-time highs, that's really the start of a parabolic rise, because up to this point, nothing's really happened. And so that's really what we saw throughout July, even into March after COVID. And from that point, Chainlink's just continued to go up. Now, in my opinion, where we're at, we've already made 2 successful higher highs. And we can see that right here. This was a resistance number 1 in the all-time high. We broke out of that, held it as support. This was resistance number 2. We broke out of that, and now we're even holding this as support. And so based off of where we're at, we're just hugging really tightly on this trend line. And we've pretty much just been doing that the whole way. And now we're just once again grinding on this. And so if there was ever a point to buy Chainlink, if you've been waiting on the sidelines, if you don't really know what to do, if there was a time to buy Chainlink, I'd have to say that that time is now, just based off of the fact we're back in this trend line. And that's personally the way that I've been accumulating Chainlink. I bought a bunch right here. I bought some more right here. During COVID panic, I actually accumulated some more here. And then I bought a lot throughout this period of time. Really, $3.70 was, I believe, the most majority of Chainlink that I had accumulated in that time. And so, all of these buys, for the most part, were pretty close within this trend line. Now, if you've been waiting on the sidelines, I think that now is probably the last chance that you're going to get to accumulate Chainlink before we start breaking out and heading into new all-time highs. And so that's the biggest reason for making this video today. I wanted to give you guys an update as far as what I thought was going to happen with Chainlink, because ultimately I expect new all-time highs to be coming very soon. And we can see that if we drop to the shorter time frames, this consolidation that we're seeing is just slow grinding, right? We're just bouncing off of this trend line and we keep going higher. I honestly think that we're getting really, really close to actually breaking out of that resistance. So this is the resistance that we have here at about, $12.78. Once we can break above this, then it's a shoe-in for all-time highs. I strongly believe that. Because if we can break this level, I think that we're going to head upwards of $16.50. We might fall back down to retest this before ultimately going up higher again. But overall, guys, the accumulation is already taking place. Every time we hit this trend line, there's whales buying. There's people adding to their long-term bags. And to be quite honest, guys, if you look at a lot of the analytics regarding Chainlink, as far as the biggest addresses that hold Chainlink, they've accumulated a significant amount of Chainlink inside of this dip. And so all of the biggest addresses of Chainlink, all of the biggest whales, they've only done more accumulation throughout this entire period of time. And so that should come as a warning or an indication at least that, there's people still buying this market. All of the biggest addresses, all of the biggest whales of Chainlink are continuing to buy. So, that should give you an indication as far as what to expect with price appreciation. And I expect price appreciation to continue to rise much higher from here. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a continued move, something like the one we just saw here, where we see something along the lines of this. I really would not be the least bit surprised to see something like this, where we just keep going more and more parabolic here. We continue to grind on this long-term trend. And ultimately, this is what's going to take us into, price discovery. And I think that we're very close to hitting that point again. And ultimately, guys, now, where do we think that will be long-term? Because, guys, I'm super bullish on Chainlink. I love Chainlink from a fundamental perspective. This is one of my biggest long-term holds, and you guys already know that. But now, where do I really think that we could be headed? Because, honestly, when you look at this trend line, it's kind of hard to say, because this thing doesn't look like it's gone parabolic in the slightest. And even if we hide our drawing tools and we take it off the log scale, when I look at this chart, it does not look anything close to done. And that's just the simple truth. When I see a parabolic cycle, I think back to the last market cycle that we saw. Whereas if we come over here, if we go and take a look at some of those older coins, we can actually see kind of how they performed when they did go parabolic. And it looks something along the lines of this, right? We go through the rounded part, and then once it starts breaking out, this is pretty much what happens the whole way up. Right? Big impulsing markets, virtually no pullbacks in between, and that's really what we should be expecting to see here inside of Chainlink today. And I mean, the only real altcoin that I think that you could compare with Chainlink from the last cycle is probably Ethereum, because Ethereum was the best performing altcoin. It did phenomenally well, and we can see that it pretty much had the craziest bull run that we've probably ever seen in conventional markets. And when we look at Chainlink today, guys, it really hasn't done a whole lot. This was the accumulation. This was the first breakout of the accumulation. And this, in my opinion, was the first leg up as we were going parabolic. This is the first time we've actually gone parabolic, was right here. And so now when I watch this, I just expect that I expect that this move is just going to continue to go more and more parabolic. We're going to get higher and higher. And that's why it's important to understand where we should be targeting for a long-term outlook. Because you guys already know that I'm going to be bearish at the end of 2021. That's when I'm going to be taking my profits. And so when I see this type of a chart, to me, it just looks like we're about to get one more big impulse. And to be quite honest with you guys, I really would not be the least bit surprised to see us at $50 Chainlink next. And to be quite honest, I think that that's going to have to be my target heading into this next leg up, $50. And a lot of you guys will maybe think that that's crazy talk. A lot of you guys might think that that's impossible, but overall, guys, I mean, this is just the very early stages of a parabolic trend. If you've been here through crypto parabolic trends like the last cycle, you know how crazy these things get. And that's the thing is, you know, Bitcoin hasn't even broken all-time highs. You know, if we were to go take a look at, something like, let's just say XMR. You know, XMR, it had already started impulsing before Bitcoin broke all-time highs. And so Bitcoin breaks all-time highs at about right here, right? January of 2017. It was about this move here that Bitcoin started breaking all-time highs. And so this is the type of action that happened shortly after. We got the majority of that parabolic move after Bitcoin broke all-time highs. And so this cycle is going to be really no different here. And in fact, we should just be more bullish than ever. The fact that Chainlink has done so well and Bitcoin still hasn't broken all-time highs. I think that Chainlink is going to do exceptionally well. It's going to continue to be the leader of this next market cycle. And honestly, I think $50 is a more than reasonable target as we head into this next impulse, which is going to take us upwards of about right here. And so, you know, guys, I think that that's more than realistic when I look at this current cycle and how it looks and how it stacks up. You know, one quick impulse, something like this, I think that that's more than reasonable because this is pretty much what we've been accustomed to as cryptocurrency investors. It's big impulsing markets, very similar to like this. And to be quite honest, guys, I think that the parabolic trend has started in Chainlink. This move, this most recent move from, you know, March 23rd, upwards of August, I think that this was the first impulse in that new parabolic trend. And what's coming next is going to be an even bigger impulse. And this is really the part of the cycle where things are going to get crazy, guys. And we need to be prepared for that beforehand. Now let's actually take a look at the Bitcoin pair because the Bitcoin pair itself looks pretty solid. It doesn't look as solid as the dollar pair, I would say, just because Bitcoin's been outperforming so well. But I do believe that we're at the reversal point. And I think that we're honestly to the point where we're about to see a big buyback happen inside of Chainlink. As you guys know, this has really been the parabolic trend that we've been watching for. In my opinion, this move here was the first move in which we've actually started going parabolic. All of this was just accumulation. It really didn't look like anything had happened. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, we have this big impulse, right? I expect that this is not done in the slightest. I think that we're going to continue to go up. And when we really take a look at this stuff, this to me just looks like we had a breakout of the previous trend. So this was the previous bear trend. We've actually had a breakout of that, and then we retested it as support. And now we're starting to get some green candles in here. And so it's looking really solid. Now, what I will say is we have managed to clear above a pretty solid resistance, I would say. And as long as we can hold above this, I think the Chainlink is going to continue to go up, and we're going to head upwards of some of these higher resistances here. But, you know, the Bitcoin pair itself isn't the most important chart for me. I expect that Chainlink's going to, you know, surpass Bitcoin. It's going to outperform it the majority of this cycle. So this chart doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But what I can say is it does look like we're getting a double bottom formation. Bottom one, bottom two, before we ultimately close up much higher and then keep going up. I would expect something along the lines of this. And this could ultimately be the part of the cycle where we get even more parabolic and the trend gets even steeper. You know, this would not surprise me in the slightest. And this is really what's to be expected of a parabolic trend is as the trend and as price grows, we should expect to see the steepness of the trend continue to grow too. And so, you know, this was the normal trend that we've had where we've been grinding on it since, you know, 2018 or even down to 2017, we've been riding on this trend. And this is really the first leg up in which we've deviated from this trend. And so if Chainlink is bullish right here and we keep impulsing like I have labeled right here, then we're going to be starting the next wave in this parabolic trend. And so this one is going to get even more parabolic. And so this is the reason why I want to talk about Chainlink today. I just see a lot of bullish price action on the chart. You know, I love this from a long-term perspective as far as fundamentals go. I really believe in Chainlink long-term, which is why it's been one of my long-term holds and why I've been accumulating so much. And to be quite honest, guys, I only expect that this number is going to continue to grow. Expect a big impulse coming inside of Chainlink, one bigger than anything we've seen up to this point, where a lot of people are going to make a significant amount of money if you were ready beforehand, which, in my opinion, you know, if there was a time to be ready, you're about at the last leg to do that before we start breaking all-time highs and heading into price discovery. So anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. I want to talk about Chainlink. I wanted to give you guys some thoughts and perspectives with this. Now, As we wrap up this video, I want to take a couple minutes to explain how you guys can sign up for the video course and signals for the people that want to. When you guys watch my analysis, if you really enjoy what I do here, the best thing you're going to be able to do for yourself is to get access to all of my private signals. Guys, if you want to make profit, if you want to be here with me making all of these gains, the best thing you're going to be able to do for yourself is to know exactly what I'm holding. And we've had a number of different coins. You know, we've nailed so many different altcoins, and I've made so much profit over the last, 3 to 6 months that you're just simply missing out entirely by not joining in and getting access to this. Because not only are you guys getting access to all of the trades that I take, but you're also getting access to my entire long-term portfolio. You guys are going to know exactly what I've allocated to each investment based off of percentages, 20% here, 15% here, 5% here. You guys will know my entire portfolio. Now, on top of that, because I wanted to even add more value to the groups, I've also started making private VIP videos that are only offered for the people that are part of my signals. So if this is interesting to you guys, just understand that you guys can sign up for the signals, or you can sign up for the video course. The video course is just 20 educational videos that are going to teach you guys how to trade using technical analysis. And the signals are just the way for you guys to copy my portfolio. You can purchase them together, or you can purchase them separate. If you can only pick one, I always recommend going with the signals first, because this is the way that you're going to make the profit. You want to get in, follow my calls, because this is how you're going to double your portfolio. And ultimately, once you have all that extra profit, if you want to pursue the course, that's fine too. You guys can do that. But ultimately, go with the signals, get a portfolio managed, and then ultimately you guys are going to be able to know exactly what I'm doing with my money, so you know when to take profits, you know what to do with your profits, and all of those things. So ultimately, guys, links are provided for you in the description. One final thing is, if you don't want to sign up for any of my VIP content, I also have my ebook in there. This one is free for anybody that wants to. I really recommend downloading it and having it as a resource, because I've spent a ton of time I've spent a ton of time actually creating it, because it's honestly a guide that I wish I would have had in the last cycle. It's really helped me a lot. It goes through a lot of basic terminologies when it comes to investing and trading into these markets that I think is just really important to understand, which is why I'm just giving it to you guys for free. If you like my channel, you want to support what I do, just go ahead and download that free ebook. Once again, it's 38 pages long. There's also a 10-part quiz in there, so you guys can go through, read all the contents, and then quiz yourself at the end so you retain all of that knowledge learned. So once again, guys, links are provided for you in the description. Sign up for any of my VIP stuff, or download my free ebook. And thank you guys so much for the support. With all that being said, I'll catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.